Okay, we're going to take a fresh look at the new hoax, and this is from a CBS Sunday Morning. I don't know the exact date that it was shown, but we're going to break it down little by little. Now notice right away all the images of where this so-called reporter is seated, the one-eyed symbolism, the sort of like the Statue of Liberty, the head with the emanations of light, another one-eyed symbolism, the sun god, Ra. Now I have a channel called War Backwards is Ra, R-A. If you spell war backwards, W-A-R, backwards is R-A-W, Ra, and you can leave the W on if you want, but I dropped the W. War backwards is Ra, false god. So all you're seeing with this new hoax is just a false god projecting false light at you, false doctrine, false thinking. Well, anyhow, let's go into it.
Sometimes the noise of news reporting can numb the significance of a story. For example, the ongoing talks with North Korea over its nuclear arsenal. The fury and force of a nuclear
hoax
bomb, something
hoax.
All hope will never experience, truly has to be seen to be believed. Which brings us to...
You're not seeing a bomb, you're seeing film. And film is manipulation. So that premise is false. You're not actually witnessing anything except you're watching a film or a movie. And notice, by the way, down in the corner, the sun god, Ra.
This report from David Martin.
-10, miles back, observers...
Well, let's just take that little motto, what's at stake? What's at the stake is your head. They drive a stake through your head. Now, this is all war hoaxing too, these so-called tests.
From all services and several allied nations, stand by for the first daylight tower shot.
The terrible swift power of nuclear weapons has to be seen to be believed.
Okay, now there's your false light of Lucifer. And I'm going to try to show you that the so-called mushroom cloud is just sort of the reverse hoax of a volcano. So, for example, this is upside down. They're saying molten lava is in the earth and it spews out. So they're just taking the volcano hoax and reversing it. It's all they're doing. And by the way, this looks like a demon right here. I'm not going to zero in with my camera because I get all messed up with my little itty-bitty camera, and my technical filming is not the best, and I don't do editing and everything like that. But I'm going to tell you what, I want to give you truth. I'm not worried about all that. I want you to get truth. Take a look at this. You can see some demon faces there, and it's the fire of Lucifer. The false yellow light. Lucifer is called the shining one in Isaiah chapter 14. And that's the meaning of the word Lucifer, the shining one, the brilliant one, the illuminescent one.
This is a really big fireball. It'll be about 2 miles across.
Now, thanks to a project headed by Greg...
Now what I find interesting too is in war hoaxing they talk about firefights. Firefights. In fact, I had someone come up to me one time and tried to convince me of a firefight in the first Gulf War. And I did a video on that. And I call those videos where I talk to people in real life, I call them raw encounters, R-A-W.
Spriggs at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. The public can see them as never before.
It's unclassified. It's not a threat to national security.
Right. We want you to see these films so you believe in the hoax. Look at the false light emanating here by a temple. We want the false light to enter your temple. About these incredible bombs that can incinerate the human body upon the flash, like a flash bulb going off from an old camera. Nonsense.
Dirty.
Starting in 1945, the U.S. conducted 210 nuclear tests above ground.
Okay, now your mushroom cloud, like I said, that's the reverse of the volcano hoax. So this would be the bottom of the volcano, and then this would be the top where it comes out of the crater. That same idea is just turned upside down, that's all. Volcanoes are a hoax.
All of them recorded on film from as many angles as possible.
It's just a bunch of smoke.
The United States does not propose to conduct nuclear tests in the atmosphere so long as other states do not do so.
That ended in 1963 when, for the good of the planet, the U.S. and the Soviet Union agreed.
Okay, this dude right here that's supposed to be Khrushchev, that's Eric Hoffer, the author of the book The True Believer. Now, I did a video on him somewhere. I get a little mixed up where I put all my videos because I have several channels. But this is Eric Hoffer. He plays Khrushchev.
To stop testing in the atmosphere.
Let's play this in fast motion, and you can see that mock stem crawling up.
Unlike most of us, Spriggs understands the physics that produces.
Right, he's the expert. Don't buy into this expert stuff. They're always putting on film, on news, some expert. Because you know nothing, right? I know nothing. I'm like Schultz on Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing, Colonel Hogan. You know nothing. You have to listen to these expert liars.
These spectacular images.
Temperatures can reach anywhere from about 10 million degrees up to about 15 million degrees initially.
Okay, 10 and 15 is what? 27. 2 and 5, 10 and 25, excuse me, I made a mistake. And then the 2 and the 5 is 7. So you add those numbers up and you get your 7 code.
Degrees Kelvin, very hot, very hot.
At the outer edge of the fireball is a shock wave. What the fireball doesn't vaporize, the shock wave crushes.
Okay, the shock wave is the nonsense coming into your head and then it traveling throughout the population.
See those tiny objects in the foreground? Those are tanks.
No, they're just miniatures. Look at it. Then they're going to show you some hokey photo of a tank turned upside down, or what you think is a tank. Tank's a lot.
Out to be hit by the shockwave.
There's your big shockwave. Look.
Moving at Mach 100.
Now that's just a miniature. Come on, look at it. Somebody that can do some really great miniatures. That's all the public saw, was some flashes of light and miniatures being exploded from underneath. It's early film techniques of special effects. In the 40s, mid to late 40s, they didn't really have a lot of great special effects like movie makers do today. And by the way, a lot of this would have been filmed up around the Hollywood sign in what was called Lookout Mountain. Lookout Mountain had filming material far better than they had down in Hollywood to do special effects. That's where your hoax videos or movies or photographs came out of that particular facility. In Lookout Mountain, in the, I believe, Laurel Canyon area, right up near the big sign that says Hollywood.
Speed of sound.
And then there is the mushroom-shaped cloud which climbs into the sky, spewing radiation.
You remember when Dave J. did his interview with Jim Fetzer, that Jim Fetzer said, "Dave, I've seen a lot of mushroom clouds." And Dave said, "You've seen nothing." And that is true. You have seen films. You have seen things on television. You have seen documentaries. You have not seen anything. And that is absolutely true what Dave said. Okay, you've seen films. So from films it goes into your temple, and you honestly believe that these things exist.
Directly tied to the nuclear fallout, which was very, very sensitive to the cloud height.
Using a computer to measure the cloud from one blast, Spriggs discovered the original calculations made 50 years ago were off by a full mile.
Instead of 35,000 feet, it was something like 40,000 feet, and it was because of the way they measured it.
That made him wonder if calculations from all...
Okay, this is just a way of passing on the hoax for generation to generation, to make some new discoveries, dig up some evidence from the past. And by the way, as I'm talking, can you see the demon face right here in the center? Can you see it? I'm not going to zero in on it, because once I start doing that, I get my little itty bitty camera all goofed up. But it's right there. Look at it. It's a demon face.
All the other blasts were wrong as well. It was more than just academic curiosity. Those calculations are used to predict the performance.
Okay, now we're going to put that nuclear bomb in a missile. These things just sat in holes in the ground. Many years ago, I had a friend who was in the Air Force. And he actually was on one of these crews in what they call the Nike sites. And all they did all day long was sit. And he told me they drew peace signs on the missile. They dug a hole in the ground, put something in it called a missile. They had a military crew come there every day and wait for something to happen, and nothing happened. Because it's just a prop. It's nonsense. These things go nowhere. Look at them, how heavy they are. You really think that thing goes up in the air and travels hundreds of miles or thousands of miles? By the way, it's a phallic symbol using the power of Nimrod, the author of the mystery religions.
What Spriggs calls the yield of today's weapons.
If you measure the shock...
Okay, now they showed him, quote, loading bombs. Now, you may not believe all this, but they're not really explosives. Sometimes they're just made of rubber or styrofoam. And I have a video on that where I'll show you in World War II, one of the planes are landing, one of these things drops off the bottom and it bounces around like a rubber ball.
Wave radius and you're off by 1%, you will be off by 5% in the yield.
So Spriggs set out to reanalyze and then release to the public the estimated 9,000 rolls.
To re-dramatize the hoax. Reanalyze. By the way, look at the demon faces up in here and there. And this is you right here. Now I want to ask a question. If this is so powerful and can incinerate, what in the, you know what, are these photographers doing here? Why, this thing's going to get them, right? Well, no, because in your mind, it's essential they film, but you don't have logic when you're watching film because it's emotion. But use logic. If this thing is so powerful and so great and can incinerate people and knock out concrete buildings, then what about these people right here? What about them? And how far away are they? It looks like they're not more than 20 yards away. So it's nonsense. And there's probably something to this with the checkered shirts, the white and the black.
The film that had been shot. He found most of them in the archives at Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, birthplace of the atom bomb. Untouched for decades, a vast scientific treasure.
Okay, this is just taking the old lies and bringing it back out onto the table so that you continue to believe them and so they go to the next generation. That's important. To pass on the lies to the next generation.
Trove left to decay.
I've had a challenge with some cans, just getting the can open.
Jim Moy is one of this country's foremost film preservationists.
Okay, getting the can open, that's getting your head open, getting your temple open. So if you can imagine an old can opener that you crank by hand, they're sticking it in the top of the can, puncturing the can, and turning the knob so that the lid, your head, is opened.
Once entrusted with the Zapruder film.
Oh yeah, let's go to the Zapruder film, right. Another fake out. Because Jackie will pull a cord and trip a device to blow up the dummy. It's a Hollywood prop. It's a mannequin. After the order of the wax museums type mannequins that look so real, you think it's actually the person. But it was a mannequin, a dummy. And she pulled it. And when she did, the explosion came. You can check me out on that. You'll see it. By the way, they filmed this several times. Dave J. will show you that in his work. Dave Johnson.
In Kennedy's assassination, he now has the job of retrieving the only visual record of America's most fearsome weapons.
I want to first, once I open a can, determine the condition of the film. And one way is by smell, because any acetate-based film, as the base that carries the image starts to decay, it will put off an odor, which is called vinegar syndrome.
Smells like vinegar.
It does, exactly.
It sounds like basically it's a race against time.
It really is. Because until those cans are opened, you don't.
We have to preserve these lies for the next generation so they can go to the next level of hoaxing. Notice how the hoaxing went from the atomic bomb to the hydrogen bomb. From fission to fusion, of which is nonsense. And I can talk a little bit about that if you like. To split the atom. Atom comes from a Greek word atomos. A in front of the word negates it. And the correct meaning of atom is that which cannot be split. So it's double talk to say you split an atom. It's double talk. It's nonsense. There's no such thing as splitting an atom. But there is in the minds of people. And by the way, this is toxic. This is hazardous waste. The waste of your time.
Know the condition.
Some of the film has been lost forever, but Moy was able to restore most of it, using a scanner to convert each frame to a digital file.
Here, we're able to analyze all the Fireball films in an automated way.
Did you see that smirk?
Technology allowed Spriggs to
I'm not going to go back and show it to you, but he smirked.
Those are high-energy X-rays running down the cable and vaporizing the cable.
And he found that the measurements made decades ago over the Pacific Ocean and Nevada desert were inaccurate.
Okay, now once again, I'm trying to reiterate this, but if you just take the volcano hoax, that this would be the bottom, the so-called molten rock, and then this would be the crater where it's coming out, and it's just the smoke. It's just inverting the volcano hoax to get you your so-called mushroom cloud.
The best they could do in the 50s was on the order about plus or minus 7, maybe 10%. So we're talking maybe plus or minus 100 kilotons for a 1 megaton shot.
A kiloton is an explosion equivalent to 1,000 tons of TNT. 100 kilotons is about 6 times bigger than the bomb which leveled Hiroshima, killing...
There was no bomb that leveled Hiroshima. Okay, it's just graphics and trickery by film with lies. Okay, this is all overlay.
A third of the population. The Pentagon would not tell us if the new data from the old tests had forced any change in current nuclear...
Okay, now there you are. There's bomb hoaxing. Okay? Bombing is hoaxing.
Targeting plans.
Notice it's red. Now here comes your phallic symbol, or your female symbol. Maybe this is a female symbol. Of the top region of a lady, female symbol.
But that does not change the impact of simply looking at images like this. Frozen for 1/1,000,000th of a second from 2 miles away, this fireball truly looks like an alien come to devour the Earth. What do you hope the public gets out of watching?
I hope they appreciate just how horrific these weapons are.
Yeah, let's appreciate it, right? Let's appreciate liars. No, let's rebuke them. In the name of the Lord Jesus, spirit of lying, be gone. Be gone from my life and be gone from the lives of the listeners watching this video, and be gone from our population that believes these lies. Be gone, spirit of lies and liars, lying spirit. You're bound by the name of Jesus.
This is something that can kill millions of people in the blink of an eye.
Oh, did you see that little smile? In the blink of an eye, right.
Spriggs is one of the few nuclear weapons designers old enough to have actually witnessed a nuclear explosion.
The 1962 weapon effects testing, Operation Fishbowl.
A high-altitude nighttime blast over the Pacific.
The sky lit up like it was noon, no matter what direction you were looking.
Oh, looking. Come on, look. He loves telling this lie.
Just lit up, and it took about 15 minutes for all the colors to fade away.
15, that's 6.
How does the real thing then compare with the film?
It's amazing the difference between what occurred out there and what's on the film.
As majestic and fearsome as those photos appear, they don't come close.
Not even close to it.
Pretty interesting imagery, right? And that's all it is, imagery.
Just in real life.
There's the golden yellow light of the illuminated one, or Lucifer, trying to spread his false light into your mind and my mind. So once again, we go back to the solution. The solution is to acquire the mind of Christ, so you think correctly, and to have the presence of the Spirit of truth, the Holy Spirit in your life, so that the Spirit of truth will discern the spirit of error. And then once you discern the spirit of error, you can tell that spirit to be gone. That no longer will your temple allow the spirit of error to work errors in your thinking. So I'd like to thank you for watching this. End of video.